Alright, y'all, so I think you get the deal by now. Berserk chapter is out. That means I'm going to talk about it. And my god, bro. Wow. Again, Berserk proves to me that it's the greatest manga of all time. And again, it proves to me that it literally cannot miss ever. It didn't miss this time either. This chapter was another short and sweet chapter, but to be quite honest, it was a really good one. It gave us some beautiful panels. The final panel, in my personal opinion, may go down as one of Berserk's greatest panels ever, and I'm being serious when I say that. I really do think that was amazing. To go hand in hand with how much I love the panels, I will also say that the artwork in this chapter was probably the best since around 365 and 366, and yeah, I'm very impressed with what they put out here in this chapter. I'm very impressed with how they showed us the different characters. I'm very impressed with the dialogue in this episode, because we haven't really gotten very much dialogue in the recent chapters, and I'm actually glad we're going to get to hear from characters like Guts, who we didn't hear really anything from in the previous chapters. And I think now I understand what they were really trying to go for with those previous chapters. And it was that they didn't really give Guts too much dialogue so they could show his emotions better and make his emotions much more impactful. And I do think they did that very well. But I'm glad they brought the dialogue back. I mentioned in the previous analysis of chapter 368 that Shirka and Farnese were nowhere to be found. Well, first panel, they're okay. They're completely safe. As I sort of suspected, I really don't think they're going to be taken out of the story at this point, so they're alright. That's pretty good to know. Which also means that Griffith doesn't really care about Guts' situation like many people actually theorize, and if he really wanted to make Guts suffer, he could have simply just killed Shirka and Farnese or taken them away as well, but he did not do that. Sort of proving what I think. So yes, the entire island of Elfhelm pretty much falls apart. What does that mean? I don't know. I really don't know what that means. It begs the question, why does Griffith want to destroy Elfhelm? Why is he doing this? Because we know that Griffith is the root cause behind all this mayhem. But what's his goal? And this mystery behind Griffith is extremely appealing to me. It's really building his character, in my opinion. Building the mystery behind the antagonist that he really is. Making him even better. Somehow making Griffith an even better character than what he once was. That to me is incredible and honestly just seems impossible, because Griffith as he is already an incredible character and one of the greatest antagonists, in my opinion, the greatest antagonist in the medium. I think this is my favorite part of the chapter and what has been my favorite part of the recent chapters. It is Guts really seeing how he reacts to situations. What we see in this chapter that we haven't really seen before from Guts is him kind of coming to the understanding that Griffith is probably out of his reach. He charged after Griffith in that moment, assuming that he would have the chance to at least fight him, because on the Hill of Swords he didn't really get to confront him physically because of Zod, and that was pretty much the last time they really made contact. So this time nothing was in his way, and he pretty much had in his mind that he could take down Griffith here and now. If anything, he'd have to fight Griffith. But coming to this realization that he cannot even lay a blow, not a single blow on Griffith, it must be absolutely shocking to Guts. To top onto that, Griffith took Casca away. That's even worse. So all of this stress and chaos on Guts' mind right now is definitely going to have a huge impact on his character, and also give us some really nice dialogue moments with Guts, because we've been kind of short on that as of late. And this panel right here is a beautiful panel of Guts simply being defeated, and just, I mean, what can you expect? He's the struggler, he grinds through the darkness, but in a situation like this, what can you really expect from anyone? He's simply defeated, and it shows Guts' human nature, because after all, he is still human, and Griffith isn't. And at times, humans are defeated, and in this case, I'm pretty sure it's clear to see that Guts is defeated. We also get the Skull Knight being surprised, which is very interesting to me, because I didn't really think we would see the Skull Knight being too surprised. He does seem like the type of character to know everything. And to be fair, he did mention that he saw this calamity coming, but when it came, I don't think he expected it to be of the magnitude that it was, because it literally destroyed the entire island of Elfhelm, which, it's crazy to me how Griffith doesn't really do anything and he simply destroys it. It's almost as though he wishes to destroy the island and the island just destroys itself. At least my boy Rod D. Eric, the GOAT Roderick himself, is all good. You already know, we couldn't sail without him, man. We couldn't even get here without him. I really did think if anyone was to fall in this calamity, it would probably be Roderick. But at the same time, if he died, we wouldn't really be able to get off the island. So I guess it makes sense. And another thing is, like, I'm pretty surprised that no one really died, considering Berserk being the dark manga that it is. I am very surprised that none of our main characters really died. I guess you could kind of say Isma sorta died, Danan sorta died, but they didn't really die. They simply got sent back to the astral world from my understanding. That's probably the most confusing thing about this chapter, so I will get to it after I'm done here. I will say that we actually did get some spread panels in this chapter, and I did mention before that I love the artwork. And yes, like the spread panels, bro, incredible. They almost looked one-to-one to Miura in my eyes, for sure. I really do think that some of the characters may look a bit different. Serpico may not look entirely one-to-one, but I do think Danan, Isidro, Isma, and the background characters all looked really good and looked very similar to Miura's style. I also think the landscape just looked really similar to Miura and looked incredible as well. 100% I gotta give them their credit where credit is due, because their artwork was incredible, and I think it is due to the fact that they took a month off this time instead of simply doing it bi-weekly. I mean, I love the bi-weekly chapters, but you gotta take your breaks when you're creating a story like Berserk, and it's no wonder that Miura Sensei took so long. But if you do remember, when they mentioned that Berserk was coming back, they mentioned that there would be 6 new chapters coming out. This is the 5th of these 6 new chapters, which means that we have one more chapter, I guess, that has already been sort of pre-planned, and then after that it's just the rest of the story. So we have one more chapter in the Fantasia arc before the arc concludes, and we kind of know now how the arc is going to conclude, because it does seem now as though Elfhelm is destroyed. Guts and his crew are gonna have to reevaluate their freaking lives, because right now I don't even know what is going on. I'm pretty sure they don't even know what's going on, and everything has just gone to complete darkness and terror and despair. They're gonna have to figure something out here. I don't know where this arc is going to go, but I have mentioned in the past I do think it will be from Griffith's perspective. We'll see what happens. This part is the very confusing part that I mentioned earlier in the video. So Danan senses something, and she's like, okay, hold on, something's going on. Isma also senses it, and the people around them also sense it. So all the people from the astral world sense it. Now, if you do remember, Griffith joined the astral and corporeal worlds in the beginning of the Fantasia arc, where he joined the two sort of, I guess, universes or dimensions together. It's a bit confusing, but he did do that. What's really crazy to me is that all these very majestic creatures from the astral world are now being sent back to where they came from, and Isma, being a character from the astral world, is being sent back, just like Danan and just like all the other creatures on this island. It's wild to me that they're doing something like this. It does really fit with the theme of Berserk, of how crazy this story can be, and I do actually like what they're doing here. I don't think Griffith has done this for everything else, or his entire plan of creating Fantasia would have kind of been pointless. Plus he loses like most of his army, so that wouldn't make sense, right? So it just seems like he's doing this for the island of Elfhelm. Again, this just draws more attention onto Griffith. What are Griffith's true intentions, and why is he doing this? That answer is going to be a crazy answer. I might have to make a separate video on that. When Danan said it's time, I was very confused, because did she sense this coming? I think she did, because we did sort of get a foreshadowing in the last chapter or the chapter before that one. But it's very interesting to me how she says it's time, sort of as though like it was destined to happen, which I guess does fit into Berserk's theme. Isma leaving Isidro is a very sad panel. I really did enjoy seeing Isidro like this, seeing him differently for the first time I think ever. I don't really think he's had this sort of serious tone to him. He's always been sort of a comedy character, but I love the character development from Isidro. And at the end of the chapter, we get what is, in my opinion, one of the best spreads. Okay, this is going to be very controversial, but in my opinion, this is one of the best spreads in Berserk. I think it's going to go down as one of the best spreads in Berserk, as just the conclusion of the Fantasia arc, and just Guts, for the first time ever, being completely defeated and just on the brink of giving up. And this beautiful line, the tranquil aftermath of a storm that swept away everything but despair. That is such a beautiful line. This was another short but sweet chapter. I absolutely loved it. Once again, we remain with the question, where will Guts go from here? How will he continue his journey? What direction will he take? And what will the final arc of Berserk hold? Those are some good questions, and I don't really have answers to them. Let me know what you thought of the chapter in the comments. As always, it was a fire one. It was fun making this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care.